Yeah, so today we are going to be talking about Chevening Scholarship, and we'll discuss other things at the end of the program, towards the end of the program. So, but the major two things we have today is Chevening Scholarship and then our US scholarship, our US admission, and how you can secure grants. Yeah, so as a matter of fact, uh, we brought in this Chevening Scholarship webinar now because we know that Chevening Scholarship is starting within the next few days. I think maybe Isabel will let us know the exact date. He's a Chevening Scholar. So we want to use this opportunity to talk to you guys about Chevening Scholarship. It's one of these prestigious scholarships that when you get, you are there and you will become a global person. You know, one thing about I always tell people about scholarship is that scholarship helps you to you with scholarship, you can use one stone to kill two birds. Number one is that you have a high job prospect because when you gain a scholarship and you use a scholarship to finish up your program, and then it's on your CV because definitely to be on your CV. So an organization will always want to try you because when they see you as a scholarship candidate who finished under a scholarship, they know that you are not just an ordinary person because there is something that the university or the scholarship awarding body saw in you that made them to decide to spend such amount of money on you. Imagine the kind of money they spend on us here. Most times, when I see the amount I'm supposed to pay in a semester, like now, when semester starts now, they are gonna send me the amount I'm supposed to pay on my student account between 8 to 9,000 US dollars. Change it in our currency, in our local currency, you see the amount that I'm supposed to pay. But by the time they apply my scholarship, this money will just go down. Sometimes by the time they apply everything, I will just have $0 to pay for that semester, just that semester. So when an organization is spending such amount of money on you, when a university or a scholarship awarding body is spending such amount of money on you, it means that you are a very special candidate. And organizations that will want to employ you, they would they would if they would want to try you, they have seen that you are a very strong candidate. So they want to give you an opportunity for you to come to the organization and bring in that which you have learned. That is one benefit. Then another benefit is that you are going to school free, almost free of charge. So it's like a double benefit. It's like you are using one stone to kill two birds. And this Chevening scholarship is one of the most prestigious scholarship I know that when you gain it, it will not just give you the opportunity for you to finish your master's, but it will also give you the opportunity for you to network with people, connect with people globally. And it gives you high job prospect. If you come out and say you are a Chevening scholar, I know what it means. So, so as a matter of fact, we are doing this today to help you guys to uh, apply for this scholarship. So I'm bringing in Isabel to talk to us. She's an exceptional Chevening scholar, and she's an advocate for education, health, and societal progress. She hosts a first class in biochemistry from my alma mater, Michael Alba University of Agriculture, Mudike, and a master's in cancer biology. And she also supports. I mean, she's well supported by a lot of by Chevening body, and she is passionate about promoting lifestyle, gender equality, and youth inclusivity. Yeah. So she's someone that I have come to know that she's so passionate about young people. She's so passionate about young girls, not just young people, young girls and the education of young girls. And that's why I always count on her whenever I want to do something like this. So I want to welcome her to speak to us on Chevening Scholarship and how you can navigate the process. So, Isabel, if you are on the call, you have the floor now. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Stanley, for having me. Hi
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, so Like Stanley already said, a scholarship opens you up to a lot of opportunities, and there's just so much you can do with getting a scholarship. So I'll just get straight into the evening application process. Maybe some of you would have heard about Chevening, some of you would not have, but essentially, Chevening is one of the UK government's fully funded scholarships that allows you to come to the UK to undertake full-time studies in any university of your choice and any course. So, yeah, the scholarship covers your tuition, pays you monthly stipends to take care of living costs. It also covers a flight ticket to and fro your home country. But more importantly, like Stanley already alluded to, is the amazing network that you get just by studying in an international institution. I'm currently doing my master's in Cardiff Uni, and I've met people from almost all parts of the world. And that's the network you need to drive societal change. So yeah, that's just a brief background on Chevening. They've got a website dedicated to the scholarship. So if you want to know more, that's if you don't already know, you can just simply go to www.chevening.org.uk and you get more than you need to apply to understand the scholarship and what it holds for you. I'm not going to be sharing any screen or slides, and it's intentional because I want you, after this webinar, if you're interested, to go online and source for information because the truth is, your key to navigating the application process, writing the essays, and coming out successfully heavily depends on your ability to look, like to seek, to actively seek for information. So thankfully, the Chevening Scholarship is one of the easiest to apply to, even though it's one of like, the most difficult to get, but it's one of the easiest to apply to. So hopefully you don't have an issue when you go on to start your application. So first things first, the eligibility criteria. You have to be a citizen of even an eligible country. Most African countries are eligible. You must be ready to return to your home country at the end of your award and stay back for 2 years. And the point is, achieving. Okay, so I like to just to be certain. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I
Okay,
think
great. Yeah. So Chevening is not a JAPA scholarship. It's a scholarship that helps you um birth your goals. Chevening invests in you to go back home and be a force for societal change. So you must be ready to return to your home country post your award. And then another eligibility criteria is that you must have completed the equivalent of a UK undergraduate degree. That's like your BSc or BNG, the different degrees we have out there. You must have completed it and graduated with at least a second class upper. That's for evening though, but when you go on to apply to the universities, there's quite a lot of flexibility. So some institutions take second class lower, some institutions take third class. I'm saying this so that somebody on this call does not begin to feel, oh, I didn't make a 2-1 or first class, and so cheating is not for me. It's just a criteria, but it is not cast in stone. The institution you'll be applying to at the end of the day is they are the ones who have the final say about the kind of degree or the class of degree they are looking for from prospective applicants. And then another thing is you must have at least 2 years work experience. So I've heard young people, especially just early school leavers, say things like, oh, I just graduated and I have not worked for 2 years, so I don't have that work experience. Sadly, the things we categorize as work experience is not really what these guys, what Chevening categorizes as work experience. So I tend to tell people, look at your 4 years, your 5 years, or your 6 years in school. Was there a time when you volunteered to do something? Maybe your IT, for those of us who have done NYSC, all those things, put them together, and you would just find out that you hopefully would have gotten 2 years work experience. And when they say 2 years work experience, they are not looking for work experience as in consecutively, as in back to back. I did this from, say, January 2021 to December 2021. And then I did the next job, say January 2022. It could be something you could put, say, for instance, I worked as what, maybe a storekeeper from maybe, let's say, in August to December. And then your next work experience would say something else. So it's the combination of all of these things put together that makes up your 2 years work experience. And the equivalent is 2,800 hours. You know, these guys work with hours. So if you can calculate the number of hours you put in when you were working or volunteering at different points in time, then you can get 2,800 hours. So with that, you're covered for your work experience. I applied for Chevening while doing my NYSC. So I didn't have that 2 years solid work experience. I just had to put together things I was doing before I got admission, things I did during school, volunteering, my IT, as well as the NYSC. That was how I got 2,800 hours. Some other persons have been working, so it's easy for them to just grab a chunk out of their total work experience and give you 2,800 hours. Taking my time to explain this so that nobody is put off by that requirement. And then finally, you take your scholarship, or you can pick up your scholarship at those institutions, but it's just worth the while to check using the course finder um, tab on the website, as well as the university tab. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It just was just dropped. Yeah, so it's worth checking that you have all those things ticked off. And then we get into the application process properly. So documents you need, very straightforward. You need your transcripts or your degree certificates, statement of results, just something that shows that you've actually acquired a degree at some point. You need your international passport. I mean, you want travel and you don't get passports. How? Then you need reference letters to it could be from past lecturers, it could be um, professional references, as in people who have worked with you at some point in time. So it doesn't have to be just school. And that is because evening is not just about education, it's about networking, it's about working with people to bring about positive results in the society. So they're not just interested in funding your education, they are also interested in, they are very much, they are heavily invested in making you to be a force to reckon with in the world space. So you can use a professional reference or an academic reference. The choice is yours. And yeah, when you get on with the application, you just pay attention to the type of documents, it's usually PDF, JPEG, as well as the maybe size limit. I think it's like 5 MB max. Those are things you begin to worry about when you start the application. The major thing about Chevening application is the essays. For those of us who have tried in the past, or those of us who are aware of Chevening in some capacity, you will know that it's the essays that make or break you. The essays are the same. They've been that way since what I think since 1986 that the scholarship was established. 4 questions every year, the same 4 questions. But it is your ability to express yourself while answering this question that takes you through to the interview and then, God willing, gets you the scholarship. I like to think of the essays as one big story, 2,000 words, split into 4 parts, 500 words maximum each. If you think about it that way, it's easier for you to connect the different dots and put them together to put forward an excellent application. I must add that Chevening is a highly competitive scholarship. I'm saying this so that should you apply and you don't get it, you don't feel bad, don't feel like a failure because I mean the scholarship, people who apply to it say plenty. During my time, there was like I think we're like 67,000 that applied, and Chevening took less than 2,000. That's like I think like 2%. They pride themselves in that, oh, prestigious and all of that. Yes, it's a prestigious scholarship. And with such prestige comes a lot of competition. So be ready to put in your very best. Trust God for the rest. And would always hope that things will turn out for the best. So the first question in the Chevening application has something to, I mean, apart from the other areas where you fill in your contact info and all of that, I'll be focusing on the essays because, like I said, that's really what will get you through the door. The first question focuses on leadership and influence. And it's just a simple question that reads, Chevening is looking for individuals who will be future leaders and influencers in their home countries. Explain how you meet this requirement using clear examples of your own leadership and influencing skills to support your answer. So the first thing to think about when writing that essay is what makes me a leader? And that will be very relative. So it is important that you own and tell your story. Don't begin to define leadership. I've read essays and people are like, according to Maxwell, this and that, leadership is this. These guys know what leadership is. Your story will tell them what you see leadership to be. And there's this thing I hear people say, maybe I've not occupied some maybe specific or strategic leadership position. And
Sorry, Isabel,
yeah,
is your network, is it that your voice is not loud or is it from my own end?
I don't know, please ask the
Some,
others because I'm speaking
s-
really
s-
loudly.
yeah, somehow the volume is not, I don't know, can someone else explain what I'm experiencing? I don't know whether it's from my end. The volume is
Yeah,
not too
yeah,
loud.
someone should just check, maybe on mute or something, because I'm
Yeah,
speaking
someone
really
said in the
loudly.
chat box, same experience. So I think, yeah, I think your voice is not too so loud. Maybe if you're not close to your laptop or something, you can just
Close,
get
and
closer.
that's crazy because I'm close and I'm shouting. So is it any better?
Yeah, I think it's a little
Okay.
bit because it's not so loud,
Crazy.
but people can hear me clearly right now, right? Yeah, I think
I don't know why that is.
it's something from your own end. Can you check
I can't
your
understand why. I mean, my phone is on the highest volume and
uh-huh. think what you're saying now, my phone is on the highest. I think that one is better now. So
Okay. So is it okay?
just continue like this.
Okay. All right, no problem. I'm just gonna stay this close then.
Yeah. Even you can come closer, I think it will be better.
Okay, no trouble. So yeah, about so I'll just go over the essays thing. So the first one is the leadership and influence, and the whole point is Chevening wants to understand how you're able to work with people, how you how you can influence people to to get results, to do stuff. That's what they're looking for. And I feel like the questions are so explicit. It's not something you need to browse about to say, what are these guys asking? They're looking for individuals who will be future leaders and influencers. The first thing to think about when you write that essay is showing clear examples of leadership and influence using concrete evidence. Don't just come and say, I was what the course rep, and during my days as the course rep, I did this, I did that, and you end it there. For every position you choose to highlight, if you want to if you want to maybe do a position-based essay where you have, maybe you've occupied lots of position in the past and you want to use that, show how that position was relevant to driving change. Look, the whole thing with a Chevening essay is in the why, the how. You have to always show that. So for everything you put forward, you must be able to show that for that leadership and influence, you must be able to show that that thing that you did was able to, maybe but it birthed this X, Y, and Z, that. I'm going to use one of the examples I had in my essays. I had like 3 examples of my leadership positions, my leadership roles. And in those 3, I think it was just one that I specifically highlighted a position I occupied. In the others, it was just something I got people together to do. And God willing, that essay scaled through the door. Okay, so in one of the examples, I highlighted how I organized an event, more like, so back in school, there was this time we had a departmental week. So, okay, it was a departmental health week. So I put together, it wasn't even my idea. The SecGen put together an event to talk about drug abuse, some incompatibility, just stuffs about science. And I worked with him to facilitate the event, to organize it, and all of that. When I put that in my essay, I was specific to say what I did, how I did it, why I did it, and the results that birthed. You must have heard of the STAR approach. It's You cannot overemphasize it, because that is really how you'll be able to make very concrete examples and clearly state your leadership and influence in the society. So you show the situation, what had to be done, like what was the problem? Why did you have to do what you did? What was the task that you had to do to solve that problem? And then what did you do? Fine, you had highlighted all of those stuff. What actions did you take? And then finally, the results. It's in the results, because by the time you do all of those stuff and the results are not worth it, then what was the point of putting in all that effort? You get, so whenever you write, whether it's the leadership, whatever, like any of the essays you're writing, especially for the leadership and influence, as well as the networking and relationship building essay, it's important that you use the STAR approach. Any example you think of, just highlight, just get out that star, right? It's S here. What was the situation? What did I have to do? What did I eventually do? That's the action. What results did I get? In that example I highlighted, I stated that I had to, draft a guest list, reach out to potential speakers, have meetings, coordinate students, go for awareness about the program. And then, of course, before that, I had stated what the problem was. There was massive drug abuse on campus, and girls were getting raped and all that. So that was the situation. The task was to get people to understand the dangers of drug abuse and all of that. I did this and this to solve that problem. And then eventually the results was that we had people come up to sign pledge cards to say, I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to quit drug abuse and all of that. We also had like, we were able to create a kind of safe space where students who are maybe battling with addiction or who are victims of drug abuse and all of that, where they can come to share their experiences and we help them, like overcome the trauma and all of that. So by the time you can answer these four questions. What was the problem? What did I have to do to solve the problem? What did I do eventually? And what results did I get? You find out that you're beginning to structure a very good essay that could get through the door. So that's something you should always bear in mind. I know that back home, I mean, I'm a Nigerian and it's a thing. Oh my God, the volume has reduced again. I don't know why that is, guys. I'm shouting right now. Can we hear me clearly?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I think I can hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just I just saw someone say the volume has reduced again. That's why I'm asking.
yeah, I think there was a time, it was a little bit high. At a point,
Mhm.
it's like it went down again or something. But just continue. At least I can hear you. And I believe
Okay. I
uh
just don't know what the issue is. I mean, yeah, so back
I
home,
think
I
it's
know
better now.
okay, we can be very modest. Our culture supports modesty. It's like don't flaunt your doings and all that. But for Chevening, please flaunt though, because that is what will get you through the door. Don't be humble or modest about it. Say the things you did. Don't begin to say we did this. Chevening wants to know what you did to make that thing work. Particularly. So even if you worked with a group, it is important that you state explicitly what you did, what your contributions were in whatever it is that you worked on. That way they understand that you can bring value to the table. You're not just hiding under a group to do stuff. So please, it is about you. It is not about your group or whatever. Then another thing quickly, avoid early academic experiences, especially if you've been out of school for too long. Say you graduated in 2015 or 2018, and you're writing the essay in 2023, yeah, this year, and you begin to talk about things you did in 2018. Chimney just thinks that you're not growing. So does it mean you've not done other stuff in the time leading up to 2023? So look around you, look for um more recent experiences and highlight those, unless maybe you just go out of schools and those things are still very fresh. They can be classed as recent and you're free to use them. Yeah, I already said that. Don't define leadership, please. Just show and prove it using your examples. Use the STAR approach, focus less on collective activities and emphasize your contribution. We said that already. The second essay is the networking essay. And the question is, I'm just going to read it out. Chevening is looking for individuals with strong professional relationship building skills who will engage with the Chevening community and influence and lead others in their chosen profession. Please explain how you build and maintain relationships in a professional capacity using clear examples of how you currently do this and outline how you hope to use these skills in the future. So the world is a social village. You cannot thrive on your own. So Chevening wants to understand how you're able to work with people to bring about the change you want to see. How do you build networks? How do you maintain them? And when we talk about network, it's not something so big, it's not something out of this world. If for those of you who are on EduAfric, that's a network. If you want to highlight that, you have to show why you joined that network, why you joined that forum, what do you need them for? And then you show what you're going to benefit from being a member. I'm using Edo Africa now because I like to use examples that are easily relatable. What do you hope to benefit? The things those things you're going to benefit, how would they help you in the long run achieve some kind of results? So it is always in the why. Why are you doing the things you do? Why do you attend conferences? Why do you meet up? Why do you connect on LinkedIn? It is not enough to say that I created a group, a WhatsApp group, because sometimes people just say, one of the ways I build and one of the ways I establish network is I create a WhatsApp group where I put together, where I mentor young people and all of that. And you just end it there. And for you, it's like you've explained. But that's you go on the Chevening websites on how to write these essays. And one of the tips is don't just state that you created groups because that's like the generic example most persons give. I created a WhatsApp group or I created a Facebook group and all that. Why did you create the group? Who were you looking to influence by creating that group? What did you think your mentees or the people you'll be working with, what did you think they'll benefit? That thing you said they are going to benefit, what are they going to use it for in the long run? You see lots of levels of questions that you have to ask yourself. I remember when I was writing my essay, I had the jotter, and for every question, for every of the Chevening question, I had loads of questions to answer. What is my network? I listed them out. For mine, then I highlighted the Nigerian Society of Biochemistry students because I had just graduated and I was doing my youth service. So that was like my current network. I highlighted that. I think I highlighted the debate club I belonged to back in school. You know, just different things here and there. And then the question, I started asking those questions. Why do I need these people? What will I benefit from being a member of this group? You get that thing I'll benefit. How would I use it? If you're able to ask those questions and critically answer them, then you stand the chance of writing an amazing essay. Don't just don't just say things for the mere sake of saying them. Okay. If you've not written a Chevening essay before, it's good that we're having this. Okay. So you understand how to write one, how to start off early to write one. I I didn't have this opportunity. I mean, I'm grateful to Stanley that he once in a while organizes things like this because when I wrote mine, I never attended any webinar, but I spent time on the Chevening website, taking in information about what to do and what not to do. There are people who still do that and it doesn't come out well. I'm an advocate of the grace of God. So yeah, but be sure that on your end, you've you've put in the best you can put in and you just trust. So yeah, whatever you do, show the why, show the how, show what that thing will benefit and how on the long run you can use your network to bring about some good in the society. So use specific examples of your own networks. Show how you create these networks and how you maintain them. So like I stated already, it's not just about saying I joined Edo Africa. How do you maintain that network? Because some of us just join groups and you don't do anything there. And that's not maintaining the network. That's not there. That's not maintaining that network. So what do you do from time to time? You know, it's not in the big things. It's just in the little things and how you're able to tell them convincingly. It's your story, it's your experience. These guys are not going to go start um maybe doing FBI work to check the things you've said. It's what you tell them that they take. Okay, so just show the why you do the things you do. What else? What other tip did I use? Yeah, avoid generic examples. Show how your network will benefit your profession and your career. You can't say you want to be let's say, maybe I'm just going to use mine. You can't say you want to be a cancer biologist and you're joining network about what now? Just some random thing. I know every courses are connected in different ways. But if I say that I have a network where maybe I mentor people on creative arts, then I should be able to link that to my cancer biology, unless you don't want to highlight it in your essay. But if you're going to highlight it in your essay, you have to be intentional about the examples you put. Remember, if you think of the Chevening 4 essays as one big story, it is easier for you to connect them. So don't come to your, what's it called, your networking and say that you have a network that is primarily made up of computer engineers or IT specialists. Hmm? And then you come to studying in the UK, the courses you want to do, and then you say you want to study, um, say biology. I'm sorry, I'm a science person, so now the only thing I did think of, and you say you want to do biology, you see already you're creating a disparity in your essays, and it makes it very difficult for the readers to connect your essays. So whatever you choose, I know a lot of us are multi-talented, you have passions across different stuff, but pick that one that you want Chevening to sponsor you on and run with it for the 1 year you're going to be here and show that that is what you want to do. Show them through your essays. Pick one and build your 4 essays around that career path or profession. That way makes it's even a lot easier for you to write your essay when you think of it that way. So you're not having to jump about from here to here looking for, okay, I've highlighted creative arts. What am I going to say? I've highlighted humanities. What am I going to say? Pick one and run with it. Then, yeah, the next one is study in the UK. That's the 3rd essay. So the question, outline why you have selected your choosing 3 university courses and explain how this relates to your previous academic or professional experience and your plans for the future. For me, I feel like that's the simplest of the essays to write because you don't have to, this is not where you're looking for, why did I do this? Why did I not do this? It's about the courses you want to do, why you want to do them, and what you hope you benefit from doing those courses. So yeah, Chevening would ask you to choose 3 universities, 3 courses. It can be 3 different courses at 3 different universities. It can be what's it called? It can be one university, or you pick like one university for three different times, but then 3 different courses. So it's not cast in stone. During mine, I picked 3 universities, the same course, just different names. Like you know how it is. Maybe one school might call it computer science, some other school might call it maybe computer engineering or whatever.
Like data
So
science.
yeah, thank you. Data science, exactly. So that was how mine was, but it was 3 institutions, and then I picked the same courses across all 3. In that essay, that is, I mean, apart from the other 2, this is where you're trying to show Chevening it's I am worth your investment. For those of us who were on the call earlier, Stanley highlighted how much um, his scholarship covers and all that. And I was smiling because scholarships are really good when it comes to funding. So my school fees is 23,450 pounds. And I mean, if you do that in Naira, you know what we're talking about.
Hi,
So it is very expensive. It's very expensive. It's over 25M. That's what they're paying. And then they're giving you stipends of what, at least if you convert stipends to Naira, it's over 1M.
I'm telling you, that's what we are
Exactly.
dealing with.
So that's what you're getting. So you have to show these people that you're worth the investment. Why should they pay that much for you to be in the UK? So, and you're going to explain that by the courses you want to do, showing would how those courses would help your community and the world at large. Because like we said already, Chevening is about intentionally developing the world. Okay, so those courses you're doing, what would they like? Why are they relevant? I'm going to use mine as an example to make it easy and just so that we can get this really quickly. So I said that I wanted to do cancer biology, and I had done my research, so I knew that we had very few cancer control professionals in Nigeria. I mean, we have people who say they are treating cancer, but a lot of them are not qualified to. We have less than, as it is, we have less than 10% of the medical workforce who are dedicated cancer control professionals. And it's not like we're not coming down with cancer in Nigeria. We're coming down with it at a heavy rate. So who is going to take care of these people? So that was the problem I identified. And I was like, okay, I can set myself up for the future. You get, I'm going to do this course. So that was why I selected cancer biology. I had already shown the problem, and and then the next part was how that degree, how cancer biology will help me solve that problem that I had identified. There's something people do that you should not do. Don't just go to universities and you go on the course page, those promotional information they have, or what this course does and all that, and you copy and paste. How? Hey, it's not Nigeria where your lecturers are not using plagiarism check, or where you're doing paper and pen.
Yeah, try it now.
Hmm. Okay, oh, don't do that. Research your schools, take in the information. By the time you go through a school's website over and over again about a particular course you want to do, you'll have an understanding of what that course is. And when you come to write, chances are it's less than 1% chance that you're going to replicate exactly what they have on their website. And that way you've avoided plagiarism. To research your course. Why do you want to do the course in that institution? There are over 1,000 UK universities. So why are you picking this one over the other one? Those are the things you have to show. And the simplest way of showing that is in the lecturers, okay, what they do. Even if you're not following these lecturers, go and look them up. You have to be information savvy. You have to be willing to look like do your research. Thankfully, this is just it's just 30th of July. You have evening opens next week, I think either Tuesday or Wednesday, and it will be
What date?
open until November 2nd. Either second or third. It's usually second or third of
Yeah, I
August.
think second last year it was
And
second of August.
yeah, during my time too, it was second. Yeah, so it will stay open till November 2nd. Yeah, either first or second as well. So you have 3 months. Nobody is asking you to rush, write this essay and submit. Please don't hit submission button if you've not given your essays for people to review, or you're not sure of what you're turning in. You have time. I turned in, I found out about Chevening 5 days to the close. And it was in 5 days that I gathered this information I'm sharing and all of that and applied. I turned in my essays the last day, November 2nd. So I'm just saying this, you have time to go through the universities. Do that. You get data. No one they use data, they do what Facebook or all those things. Use your data, go look for school where you won't go. Please. I like to speak my local parents from time to time so that
Yeah,
would so that we emphasize, we leave all this
of
Oibo and
course.
we emphasize the importance. Please research your institution, research your potential lecturers. When you read essays, you will just be wowed at what people write. I once went through someone's essay and she was applying to the University of Sussex. Sussex is spelled Sussex. And this lady spelled the university as success, Succes. And I'm like, just for the university name. And in my head, I'm like, okay, if now you be Chevening, ask yourself that question. If now you be Chevening, you go sponsor yourself.
I go try am.
So research your schools, research people you want to work with. Show how by working with those people, you're going to become a better person and you can solve the problems you've identified. For me, I identified that we needed cancer control professionals in Nigeria and Africa. I identified the problems of waste management because they've been linked to cancer incidents. So I looked at people who were working in that line, and I showed that by working with these people, I would gain industry and clinical relevant experience to be able to bring about change. That's all you need to do in your studying in the UK. Okay. One other tip is when you write that essay, of course, when you write other essays as well, use paragraphs. But for this particular essay, use different paragraphs for different schools or different courses, however you want to say it. That way, it's easier for the reading committee it's easier for your reader to go through your essay. People are put off by bulk of text. Okay, learn to use paragraphs. 5 to 6 sentences, move to another paragraph. Do that also when you write your networking and relationship building essay. If you're highlighting like 3 to 4, I like to use three because three is for me, three is the minimum, three is the maximum. For me, you can write a whole lot more, but remember that it's just 500 words. You don't want to have tons of examples without being detailed. So it's better that you even pick one and invest your time in making that one look glorious than to have experiences sprawled all over the essay and you're not saying anything about it. Okay. Pick, like I said, for me, three is the deal breaker. I use three. For all my essays, I use three. Three for the of course for the university and for the university courses as well as university choices, it was three. So I had three different paragraphs dedicated to them. When I wrote my networking and what relationship building, I used three examples. And so I had three paragraphs for those. When I wrote the leadership and influence essay, I had three examples of my leadership and influence, my strong leadership and influence skills. And I had three examples, three paragraphs. So once your reader begins to read, they even enjoy reading your essay. So they know that once they see a full stop and there's space and the person is moving to another line, they know this person is getting onto another experience. It's easier for them to read. Yeah, and so demonstrate an awareness of your field. I already said that I had researched to know that we needed cancer control professionals. So I showed that. Use distinct paragraphs to say that already. Be clear on your study outcomes and show evidence of research. We said that already. What would that course give you? You get. Be very explicit about those things. If you're changing career paths, I must add that. Clearly explain. I've seen someone, yeah, we've seen people move from maybe the medical field to humanities and feeling funds them. So it is okay for you to change career path, but you have to show them why you're doing that and how you're going to go about that, especially when the drift is so large. Be ready to explain. The last essay is career plan. So I'm just going to run through what we've gone through already. We've talked about the leadership and influence. We've talked about networking and relationship building. We just finished talking about studying the UK. So the last is career plan. And that's how this essay is actually. You have the 4 questions in this order. You can start writing from anyone though. So on career plan, the question, Chevening is looking for individuals who have a clear post-study career plan. Please outline your immediate plans upon returning home and your longer term career goals. You may wish to consider how these relate to what the UK government is doing in your country. Very straightforward. What you go do when you come back? How you want to do them? How would your network and your time in the UK help you to do those things? And like I had already um, highlighted, it's easier to just write these things in paragraphs. For me, I just wrote in 3 paragraphs. First off, my short-term goals. And short-term for me is like 0 to 2 years. My program would round up in September by God's grace. And, worst case, you should be back home by January. So as soon as you come back, What are you going to do? From that time to the next 2 years, what would you be doing? That's your short-term goals. And they have to be relevant. You're not just running off to do something that does not relate to why they funded you. Even if you want to do that, I mean, it's okay. We know how Nigeria be. If you say you want to do all these things and you come back, you now see the new check and you're like, hey, I know if you do this one. But when you write, you have to highlight that these are the things you're going to do. Clearly, it's not a time to come and start speaking big English. Be as simple as you can be, but clearly show what you want to do. The next is your midterm goals, and that's like 2 to 5 years. What would you hope to do? And finally, your long-term goals, 5 to 15 years. There's something the reading committee highlighted on the Chevening website that people do, and that's to say that they want to do a PhD, maybe as their like their middle or long-term goals. While that is okay, I mean, I trust God that at some point in my life I'll do a PhD, but I never highlighted that in my essay. If you highlight that you want to do a PhD, it's not just there, it's not just a goal in and of itself. Why do you want to do a PhD? You've done a master's for 1 year. And from what they know, doing a master's equips you to do a lot of things in the society. So why do you still want to do a PhD? It is all in the why. You come back home and say, for me, I said my short-term goal was get back home, join was UICC, Union for International Cancer Control, through the Nigerian Cancer Society. Why did I want to join them? I had to explain. I'd network with female oncologists as I look to create a social enterprise for young women who want to go into STEM. So that's why I wanted to join them. I also wanted to be a part of research to identify, the growing cancer incidence rate in Nigeria as well as Africa. So for everything you say you want to do, you have to show why. And you are free and allowed to dream big. I know somebody in my set right now who is studying, I think, sports science. And her, I think one of her goals that she highlighted in her essay was that she wanted to become FIFA president, a woman, and she's here in
Wow.
the UK now. So you are allowed. Yeah, that was what she highlighted, and she's here doing sports science, studying to be a coach. So yeah, you are allowed to dream big. You can, yeah, it's fine for you to say, I want to be the minister for health, I want to be the minister for communications and all of that, but show them why if you want to be, if you eventually become that, what you're going to do with it. And if you're not going to do all of that, if you're just going to manage a small company or you're just going to be employed at one organization, the changes you would drive in that organization and how that would, trickle down into the grand scheme of things. That is how to write that essay. Tips: be specific and concrete about your goals. You must have heard SMART. They've been overemphasized. I can't say they've been overemphasized, but that would help you. SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound. I want to do this between this and this. This is how I can know if my goals, if I'm doing something that is leading me towards achieving those goals. Be very intentional about those things. Another thing is give a strong rationale for your career path. I already highlighted mine. We cannot have um, a lot of people coming down with cancer and you don't have people who will take care of them. So that's the rationale for why I'll be joining the AWS, African Women in Science, joining this and that and all of that. So show a strong rationale for your career path. Final tips for all of the essays put together. Structure your essays. Don't plagiarize. Um, get a second, a third, a fourth opinion on your essays. Sometimes it's just so easy for you to not spot out very simple mistakes here and there, but when you get someone else to look at your essay, it's easy for that person to say, oh, this is where you didn't cross your T or dotted your I and all of that. Yeah. And start writing early so that when you get your essay out to a reviewer, the person has time to go through your essay. You cannot give Stanley now or me your essay today and say I should get back to you in 2 days. I will not get back to you.
You're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. It's not because we're forming business, because people are busy. You're also busy, I know. So
Yeah.
write your essay time, send it out at least a week so that the person can go through. Unless you want to have just anybody just go through your site. Oh, your essay is looking good though. If that's what you want, I can do that for you. But my conscience said no go let me. So write early, put away your essay for like 2 to 3 days, go back to it, read it. And I like to say you just might see that this one why I write no set too. And then you have a fresh insight and perspective to write something else even better. And that brings me to the end of this talk.
Yeah, wow. That's very apt. Wonderful. Yesterday, I read about 8 essays, and these essays were sent to me like 2 weeks ago. So it was yesterday that I had time to read it and send back. So,
Yeah.
well, one of the reasons what we do in Edo Africa is one of the reasons we bring people here is like Isabel, we just brought her now because we know that Chevening Scholarship is starting soon, and a lot of people that are following us, people that are in our group chats, they would want somebody who has been there to, they always say, as always a general language, follow who know road. Oh.
No,
So,
though.
yeah. So we bring people who know road so that those of you guys who are looking for road will now follow who know road. So I believe that by the time Chevening Scholarship starts, a lot of people will apply. It's not, nobody's asking you for more. These things, these scholarships, they are not paying. I don't think I ever paid for any scholarship. Don't think so. I think the only thing I
But
have,
that's your data.
yeah, the only thing I ever paid for in the past was the application fee for admission and all that. But for any of these scholarships, it is your intellectual capability. What can you do? What can you write? Stay in your laptop, start doing that Yahoo that you do with other things. Do it officially. So that's what we're saying. So thank you so much, Isabel. You have really, I think your session was a little bit more of a practical session because you were actually connecting. One thing that makes people to understand things is when you link theory to practice. So you were actually linking theory to practice. There was a point I pointed out when you were saying something about networking. You see, that's why in Edu Africa, we're not looking for crowd. I don't want crowd. I don't need crowd. All we need is people who are actually joining us to network, to actually, because we have vision and mission while we set up Edu Africa Scholars Organization. So we need people who are coming there to network, to connect with others, and it's not just to join and become dormant. You see, at a point, I'm thinking of at a point we're gonna do some things in that our group chats. We're gonna look at people that are dormant and we can just decide to, can just decide to just set them aside because we really want people who will join and who will be active and help others and connect with others. Network. You connect with some other person and you get information. I recently observed one guy, that Toby guy. There's a guy, Toby, in that
Yeah.
group. Yeah, I observed how frequent he posts updates and how he's helping people in that group. And because he's, something like this now, like what makes, like what Isabel said when she was talking, she said, so you don't need to do the whole world. You don't need to be the president of Nigeria or the president of Ghana or president of your country for them to take you. That little thing you think is nothing can make them to take you. Like for instance, now looking at what Toby is doing, I looked at what he was doing, and then I started to engage him. Recently, I've engaged him to be reading the letter of intent people write to join Edu Africa.
Eduardo.
So this thing now is an intellectual thing. It's a way he's volunteering. Recently he read because I we in Edu Africa, most of us we are so busy. Me, I'm very busy. So to be reading those things and be doing other things and be doing my own personal things, they are too much. So I decided to now start giving out some functions. There are other functions in Edu Africa which we will still be giving out, but I don't want to announce it. I'm looking at people that we can actually give those things to be doing for us. So now, this guy is now reading these essays. And it's a practical thing that if he's writing any scholarship application, he can say, I joined Edu Africa Scholars Group, where we have global people from different parts of Africa. We are networking. I'm doing this thing, and at the point I am looking at what I'm now doing for Edu Africa. I'm reading the essays, and so now, and when you read some of these essays, you're also training yourself. I tell you people most solemnly, I review essays, people's essays, and I get insight from reviewing your essay, because when I'm reviewing it, I'm reading what you're doing, and then from there, it will give me sense of and I will say, this thing that you're doing is supposed to be like this. Then I'll now make suggestions for you, do it this way. So I am actually training you, and at the same time training myself.
Yeah.
So when you do some of these things, when you, like for instance, this guy that is reading these essays that people write to join Edu Africa, because we said that before you join Edu Africa, you have to write a letter of intent, so that we will actually know if you're actually joining or you want to come and be making noise there, or come there and become dormant. And at the end of the day, he read, I think this week alone, he read over, let's say, 15 essays or so. And the ones he recommended some, he didn't recommend all the names. And the ones he recommended, he sent the names to me. I sent it to the admin, and the admin added them. Simple. It's not everybody that's applied that we accept. So we are relying on his sense of judgment to add people there. And it's something that he's doing. And he can now set as an example
I'm
that this is
coming.
what I'm doing. So
Exactly.
yeah, these are the things we are saying. Linking practice, practical things, those little things you do, they are helping you to gain some of these scholarships. So I think we are gonna take, okay, we'll take questions, but not yet. Let's run down some other things we have. Then at the end of the day, because the speakers are already here, we still have Emma, who will speak some minutes about universities in US, and then there was something he posted recently on the group chat that I saw. It's very interesting. What I do is, most times whenever I come back from work, I enter Edu Africa, or when I'm free in my office, I just enter Edu Africa group chat, and then I see important messages. I highlight the ones that are important. I bring it up for us to have more discussions on that. So when I read what he posted, it was a very nice thing that I think we could actually explore. Have other discussions around them, so that people will have more information about how to get some of these grants. So I talked to him privately. I said, guy, as you don't talk this now, you want to talk and well, make we hear and well. So so I brought him here. So I'm thinking we can just hear from him for some minutes, and then people can now ask all of the questions together. And then I think the last part of what we're gonna do is to interview one of our mentees, going for interview this week. So that one will come last. Then, so Emma, I don't know if you are there, you can just speak briefly, so that at the end of the day, we'll be taking questions both on what Isabel has spoken about Chevening, and what Emma will be saying now. So we can take all of those questions at once and then round off the program. So Emma, you have the floor now.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we cannot see your face.
Yeah. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad to join you guys this afternoon, or this evening in Nigeria, actually, to discuss about some important things that no one told me. Like, these things, I learned them in hard way.
Yeah.
And when I see people yelling, not yelling actually, complaining, I sometimes a lot of people say, "Oh, I wrote to this professor. they don't respond to my mails. I did this, I did that, and I'm like, oh, I actually feel that way when I was doing my own time. So I started before I go into what I want to talk, I just want to share my experience. I started applying for school in United States immediately and when I during my NYC, so in 2018. And up till it didn't click. Every year I was applying. So 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021 till 2022. Is it 2021 or thereabout it clicked? So what I'm trying to say is like it's 4 years of full experience. And till I came to United States, I started working with professors, started working in grants, started like doing research and started seeing how they even make decisions about graduate students or who to take or who to choose. Like, take for example, in my department this year, there's a Nigerian that applied. So a professor called me and said, there's a Nigerian that is applying. Look at. What do you think about him? I don't know this guy actually. And here you have to be very honest. So he connected me to the guy and went and start looking for the guy profile. I think he's not even on LinkedIn, thereabouts. So, and after a while, I started asking me questions like, guy, what is your research interest? You don't even have a research interest, right? He started saying something about what he did in masters, his projects in masters. I was like, no, this is not research interest. Like research interest is some like a kind of identity that when they call you, like this is who you are, and that's have to kind of have a link with what the department is doing. And after everything, he was listed. I actually tell my faculty like, yeah, he's a good fit for the department. After some time, he was listed and he ended up not getting admission. So like there are about 15 of them that applied that applied to my department that is coming for fall 2023, but the department only accepted one person. So to show you how competitive PhD can be in the United States. So now I just want to flow with all the things I posted in that group. Like so the first thing I said is like know the mission and vision of the department you are applying and how it aligns with your scholarly expertise. So most of the times people just go to the department website and start shooting cold emails. Some of the people that even write emails are visiting professors that don't even have like they don't have like a part say in the department. Some of them are like emeritus professors that are just like they are just there to kind of give like advice to the faculty because department don't have funding, and that's where some people get it wrong. Departments don't have funding. Faculties have funding, and faculties are professors. So the funding that department has is funding to take care of the department welfare. Like I'll give you an example. There was a time when I was coming to the United States from Brazil. So I have to check my flight. It was very, very expensive. I wrote to the chair of my department and say, hey, I think I have so amount. Can I get money from emergency fund from the department? And they booked the flight for me. You understand? So that is called emergency fund. Is like the money that the department set aside to take care of their like emergencies that that kind of like arise within the department. But the funding, the people that have funding are the faculties, and those fundings are awarded by grant bodies called like NSF and the rest, like National Science Fund and all that. So what is NSF? NSF is like a body in the United States that award grant to research. So if a professor will write a proposal and say, I am working on so thing, and for duration of 5 years, for duration of 10 years, and this is the proposal I have. So NSF will kind of look at it, or all the awarding agency will kind of look at it and say, okay, we will award you so $1 million for this research. Now, when this faculty get this research, they need people to work on that research. And that is where research assistant, somebody say, oh, I was awarded a research assistant job at so place as my assistantship. So they need research assistants to kind of work on those research. So what they do is like, sometimes faculties will kind of like call for, vacancy, like say, oh, I'm looking for so person, like a good fit for, I know a lot of people see it on LinkedIn. Sometimes faculty do not. So you apply. And once you apply, they will not select the best fit. So that is where the mission and vision, every department has mission and vision. And you see that this mission and vision, all the faculties, they are all linked to the mission and vision of that department. Like, for example, in my department, our mission and vision have to do with like equity and inclusion. Our research revolve around equity and inclusion. We do with critical thinking, conspiracy theory. We do with kind of pre-service teachers and in-service teacher ed, and we do with like flip classroom learning and how to support cognitive guided instruction. Now, if you are a PhD student, or if you're a prospective PhD student that is applying for kind of like admission in the United States, and your research interest does not fit into this goal of the department, there's no way they will accept you, because the money they gave to the faculty have been accounted for, and anybody they are kind of putting, like they kind of bringing into that grant must have the same vision and mission of what the grant proposer have already stated. So most of the times people say, oh, what about people they give teaching assistants? I want to say this thing categorically. In the United States, they will not, they barely give you a teaching assistant because of the language barrier as an international student. They barely. If they want to give you a teaching assistant, maybe just to do some online grading, like go to online. It's called instructor actually. You just to do online grading. So most of the time when you see people say, I'm a teaching assistant, blah, blah, they are not actually teaching. They don't teach. They don't go to class and teach. So what most of what they do is like online instructors, right? Because they believe that the language barrier is like a lot. So communication is a key thing here. So most of the times the undergraduate, they pay a lot of money to go to school here. And every dime they spend, you have to account for it. So most of the teaching assistant job, they normally give it to their citizens, the white people or the Black Americans doing PhD. Why these research assistants are international students that arrive to the United States that work on distance. But sometimes it differs. So most of the times, like maybe if you're a student and maybe towards your third year, fourth year, and you want to get a faculty job, they can start you with a teaching assistant because you have already stayed in the system and you have understand how things work in the system. So they can start you with a teaching assistant role so that you can gain experience because of the job you are applying. So this is about like kind of understanding the mission and vision of the department. Every department have like kind of mission and vision, and this mission and vision is attached to the kind of research the department is doing. Knowing that I might be a professor of mathematics, Stanley is a professor of mathematics, but our research interests will differ. I know how many times when I was applying for schools, I know a professor that actually want me, but he said, hey, I don't have money for this, and I have to fund you for like 5 years because you have to work on the grant I'm doing. And that's why I didn't get that admission. So you have to be very, very meticulous. You have to understand what is this department. These departments I'm going, what is their mission? What type of research do they do? Does their research interest, their faculty research interest align with my research interest? and what is the funding agency, what is their funding agency, how did they get their money, how did they get their grants, and for like what is the progression of their faculties, right? So that's it. Then another thing is like, most of the time people say, I wrote an email to a professor and they did not respond to me. So I want to tell you this. In America, once a professor gain full tenureship, so what I mean by tenureship is like a professor is, so you have to move from assistant professor. Like if I finish my PhD and I'll go into faculty role, I'll start with assistant professor. So from assistant professor, you go to associate professor. From associate professor, you go to a full professor. So once during your associate professorship, once you get tenureship is, that means that like for life, you are now a faculty member. What it means that if you like, accept students. If you don't like, accept student, don't accept student. Nobody's going to query you. I have faculties in my department, they don't have students. And nobody queries them. So if you like, write like 500 emails, they won't answer because they don't want to accept students. So it is always advisable. So I tell people this, when you are trying to contact a professor, take their name, go to Google, look at their profile, look at the research they're involved in, right? Did they have any grant that is currently running? If they have any grant that is currently running and you look at the duration of that grant, because you don't want to go into something, take for example, a professor's grant is finishing like next year and you just got into you just get in contact and they say, yes, we need somebody and maybe a good fit. And at the end of the day, they are not, they are no longer in the department or something like that. And this happens to me. Like my PI, she accepted me. And when I started, she left the department. I have to find a way to kind of redefine my research to kind of fit into the department again. You understand? So because you can't pay, like, where am I going to get like 60,000 plus to pay my tuition fee every semester? So, but you have to redefine your research. Everything about US PhD is all about research. It's 70% research, 30% coursework. So it's all about research. You have to redefine your research to kind of fit into what the department, to the mission and vision of the department. So, and most of the time, what I tell people is like, look for young professors. When you're shooting email, look for young professors. That's because, these ones, there's still this zeal inside them. So there are some professors that like they have attended their tenureship, so they don't even need to accept students anymore. Or there are some professors that they have like about 7 students or 5 students they are advising. So, and they will tell you, oh, I don't want to accept students anymore, or something like that. So, but look for people that that these guys are like in a track, like they like their projectly, you look at their projectly, right? How they are moving, the source of their funding, like how many years they are having the funding, what they have done, and what they are looking for, what they speak about. Like, you can go to LinkedIn, Google Scholar, some of them actually post on Twitter and all that. So these are things that kind of help you to understand, okay, before sending email to this professor, I already understand this professor. I have already pictured the kind of person this professor is, bearing in mind that you are not the only person that is also trying to reach out to this professor. So with that, having that in mind, you have to be very, very very, say something, so you have to be very, very concerned. Like, you don't just reach out to a professor without reading their work. You have to, before reaching out to a professor, read their work, making sure that what you want to do aligns perfectly with what the professor or the works the professor are doing. I'll give you an example. In 2019, I reached out to a professor in University of Rochester, and I do not have anybody that guide me. Everything I did, I was just doing trial and error until things clicked out. And I reached out to this professor. She's doing something on metacognition and neuroscience. So, and I wanted to kind of embed this in the mathematics, right? So, and I talked to her and she was like, okay, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your research interest. I was speaking jargons off point. And these people, they can never tell you, oh, you are not making sense. They will keep nodding their head and like, good, yes, yes. And at the end of the day, she said, I think you can reach out to so person. Yeah.
That's one bad part of these people that I don't like.
They will never tell you that you are not making sense. They will
be nodding their head.
They will be smiling. They will be nodding and smiling. I was like, wow, tell me more. And I let her understand that had it been I read this woman's work, I would have been a good fit. My application did not even last. I submitted my application. It didn't even take 1 week. They gave me rejection letter straight up.
Aye.
Because I'm not prepared. So, and all this thing, no one tell me all these things until when I understand all these things. So the admission that like this admission that I got here, I was prepared for the woman. I was very, very prepared. Immediately I saw her, like her stuff, I picked it up. I went and read one of the work she did in 1989. Like the day we are talking, I was like, yeah, I read your work from 1989. Look at, oh, this is what I'm trying to do and all. She know that, yes, this is a good fit. And immediately after like I finished talking with her, the next day she started following me on LinkedIn. So this is actually a sign. She started following me on LinkedIn. She started following my ResearchGate. So that should show you that this person actually you don't need to have the full knowledge. You just have to have a little, have to understand. And if you're talking with them, ask questions, like ask them questions, like say, oh, what do you think about this? This is what I want to do. This is how I want to connect my research to your research. You understand? Ask questions. They like people that have kind of provoking thoughts. So you have to read the professor research before writing them a code mail. And when you are writing a professor a code mail, try to kind of end the mail by saying that you would like to discuss more. You understand? You would like to discuss more with them if you understand. Like if they find this interesting that you like to share more about, because that is how you can actually, have like a physical one-on-one, like a Zoom meeting thing to kind of like share yourself to them. So how you can do this thing is like maybe I'll find like a sample of like most of the code mails that I wrote when I'm doing my application and kind of maybe share with Stan, or I can drop it in the group. So how you can do this is like, don't say I am Emmanuel Ume, blah 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 blah. I'm first class. Of nobody care if you are first class here. You can have a 2-2 and you still have a PhD. What matters most is your research interest. Please hope I'm not taking our time. But what matters more is like for example, I want to do a research in technology, in digital technology. I can say, hello, Professor so person. I have read your work in so journal, and your work in so thing is very intriguing. I am so person. My research interest focuses on so thing in technology, and it aligns perfectly with your research interest. I have assessed your faculty profile, and so thing you have done is actually what I want to do in PhD. My so thing, so you know how you have to put it, then you say attach is like my academic transcripts and degree certificate for your perusal. Please, I would like to reach out to you to share more of my experience with you. I understand you are so busy, but any day you give me works, and you see, definitely they will reach out to you. But most of the time, why professors don't reach out to them, because they don't know how to write code mails. Here, there's a strategy to everything. America, people are very busy. I'm telling you the whole truth. People are busy morning to night. So, but how you kind of share those thoughts, we help the professors to kind of like reach out to you and actually also understand your experience, and because they actually want to know you more. I also share about, okay, I'll talk about the cold mail. Okay, I talked about the universities, the R1, R2, R3 university. So I understand that most Nigeria, not most international students, they are apply, although sometimes it may work. Most international students apply to school because their friend got admission in University of Illinois. It can't work like that. In fact, let me tell you, I've seen somebody that applied to a school, he was rejected. The next year, he used the same application. He didn't even change A or B or C. Like the same thing, he applied to that same school with that same application material and everything. He was accepted. So what this thing means is that everything is boiled down to quota system. There's what is called quota system in PhD, in selecting PhD, because it's very, very competitive. Now, when you are looking for admission, your focus should be on R1 universities. So what is an R1 university? An R1 university is a research intense university. When faculties apply for grants, NSF and all funding agency, their more focus is like, where is this faculty coming from, right? And if the faculty is coming from an R1 university, they gave them more preference. Like, if I'm not mistaken, an R1 university every semester is being funded like about $400 and something million every semester. So an R1 university, they have money. So an R1 university is more of research and less of teaching. Like my school, the school I am now is R1 University. Then R2 University they are also research intense, but they are more of like teaching. Excuse me. They are more of teaching than research. So like there are some schools here, you see their master students, they don't do dissertation or thesis. So they just have to write reports and they let them go. Most of those schools are R2, R3 university, but in R1 university, as a master student, you must provide a research. So you have to look at, where is this faculty coming from? Sometimes some people say, I gain admission in so school. The reason why you gain admission is because maybe the professor from an R2 university is collaborating with a professor in an R1 university. And definitely your funding is coming from the PI, and maybe you don't even know the PI, but because that your the co-PI, maybe who is your supervisor or your advisor, is collaborating with a professor that has like a research grant from an R1 university. Like, let me give you an example. These four, I'll be working on 2 assistantship. I'm already doing an assistantship with like my PI. We are working to submit a grant for NSF for this year. Now, there's a research I'm doing with one of my faculty on technology. The source of my funding is not coming from my school. So another school is paying part of my funding and my assistantship. And I don't even know the people in charge, right? Okay, someone's asked a question. Can I finish before I answer question, please?
Yeah, I know that there are some questions on the platform. So maybe at the end of your program, at the end of your talk, we will look at the questions and
Okay. All right.
yeah.
So it's very important to kind of like understand R1 university, R2 university, and R3 university. R3 university, sometimes they don't have fun. And please avoid private universities. Avoid private universities. Private universities don't have funding. You have to pay. You have to pay. I was offered admission in California. I was given $60,000, but I checked. Number one, cost of living in California is very expensive. Number two, most of my assistantship is not included. The only thing is like they gave me is like my tuition waiver, but I have to get money from assistantship. How will I survive? I'm an international student. I don't have family here. So you have to put all those in, and I have to give them like I reject the offer. I say no, I don't want to come because it's a private university. They don't have funding. You understand? So you have to, except maybe your head reach Harvard or Stanford or Yale University. Yeah, those ones are Ivy League and they are well recognized, and most of their funding comes from big shots they have already produced, and which is like their alumni. And avoid also historical black school. They call head BSc, whatever, because most of all these schools they don't also have funding. I also talked about trying to be a little bit fast. So okay, the 6 point side, you say if you succeed in contacting a professor, make sure you go straight to the point. Don't talk. Okay, yeah. So if you succeed in contacting a professor, make sure you go straight to the point. In fact, I'll give you a typical example. When I was being interviewed by our the professor that is in charge for admission, we started talking. And first of all, he asked me about myself, my experience. And after that, I also asked him about his experience because it's communication. Don't fidget, like express yourself. And that was how, so when they asked me, even when they asked me about English proficiency, I said I'm not going to submit the English proficiency because they can reference to so time I speak with this professor and how we communicate and all that. And because of that, they waived the English proficiency for me. I didn't submit English proficiency. So what I'm trying to say is like, go straight to the point. Don't know when to keep quiet, know when to ask questions. And don't keep saying, what do you say? If you keep doing that, they will feel like maybe this one don't even understand anything. You understand? Because there's this assumption like they'll feel like not everybody in Nigeria speaks English. And because of the way we already portrayed ourselves in the global map. So even if you don't understand what is say, you can say, pardon, I didn't get what the last thing you say and all that. So try to go straight to the point, keep it succinct, and be ready to ask questions and be ready to bring like a interactive communication, you understand, that will keep the interview flowing. So there's another thing I want to say, especially for people in chemistry. So I don't know, most of you already know about US admission and the process. So chemistry have a very big funding for people that want to actually do chemistry. They have big funding, like but if you are going into the chemistry area or bioscience or life bioscience or whatever, make sure that the research you are creating, there's a solution that your research is going to solve. Make sure that your research is going to solve a solution. That is the only thing. In fact, in chemistry, you don't even need to write GRE or whatever, because once you tell them that, yes, this is the solution I'm trying to bring or whatever, they're going to accept you. So without being more said, I think I've kind of like said most of the thing I feel like no one's shared to me, especially when you're trying to navigate through the US admission process. And the last thing is like, whatever your recommendation letter is saying, make sure it's aligned with whatever you're writing your SOP. I've seen people that in their SOP, they say, oh, I did this, and their recommender is saying this. So whatever your recommendation, US place a lot of value on recommendation. Recommendation is everything here. Recommendation is, in fact, let me even tell you something. Recommendation is even more than your degree here. Recommendation letter is more than your degree here. I'm telling you, recommendation is very key. Make sure that you package your recommendation that it's kind of aligned with most of the things that you said in your SOP, your personal statement or your statement of purpose. And with this, with luck on your side, definitely, if they see you as a good fit for the department, they will definitely, you know, grant your request and offer you admission with funding. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Emma. You have really spoken well. And one thing I have to tell you guys about that letter of reference is just talking about now is that if I want to tell you guys one secret. Some of these things we don't know them. We didn't, like Emma said, he knows how we started. We learned all these things by force. We learned it in a hard way. One of the things that you should do when you want to write, when you want to get a letter of reference, or when you want a professor to write a letter of reference for you, is send the to that professor a copy of your SOP or your research proposal, whatever you have submitted. Send it to that lecturer or the professor. I want to write a letter of reference for you. It will help him to actually know you more. And then also send him your CV. It will help him to, link whatever he's going to write for you with what you are writing. It's just one secret I have to let you guys know. It's one of the things that helped me recently. Some of the references that I got from my professors, they know about me, but probably they don't know probably most of the things you are doing, your community development services, because you wrote all of those things on your SOP. But most of your lecturers, probably they don't know that you, apart from the fact that you are a very bright student in class, you are doing well in your assignments, you are doing well probably in leadership in school. Maybe they don't know that there are other things you're doing in the society which they can still connect with what you're doing in class. Because recommendation letter is all about trying to talk about you. So they can now say, they can now link what you are doing in classroom with that thing which you're doing in the society, which you have also written on your SOP. So please, if you wanna get a reference letter, and some people used to ask me some questions about reference letter. Should they write? Most of the universities in the US, they don't need you to submit a reference letter, maybe in a letterhead or whatever, signed and all those things. Most of the universities in the US, what they need you is to send the email address of the lecturer or the professor, whoever is going to write the reference letter for. You won't even see it. So once you provide the email address and everything on your application while you are submitting. So as soon as you submit back, and once you hit submission button, the lecturer in his email will receive the reference request from the university. And he's not going to reply directly to the university without your own notice. So that's why you just need to keep the lecturer informed. So I don't know. There are some questions. Okay, I don't know if Prince Ozoma, I don't know if you have something to add on, because I know you're also a scholar and you could have one or two things to add to what.
What I wanted to say, like Emma really did justice to it. Like he really did very big justice to US
Yeah, yeah,
application
yeah,
process.
yeah.
Like he did wow. And then what I wanted to say is about the letter of recommendation. Please, I would like to say it when this thing is out of record, so that I can say I don't want it to be on record. Understand? So that you can know you post this thing later. That's
Okay, okay.
so
You know what? Let's grab line. So
Sorry, I'm just going to come in. Oh, you've taken off the recording. Fine. I wanted to say that off.
okay, so we can now look at some of the questions on the chat box before we go to the final segment of visa interview. So I think there are some questions here. Let me check. Hello, Isabel. We really okay. Someone is not question. Okay, so someone is saying we really want to connect with you. Okay, Isabel, someone want to connect with you on LinkedIn. So please, you can share your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so okay, this question is coming from Ugo Chu, who says, please, I have few questions. Can I use my position as a course rep in my undergrad to cite as an example of leadership skills and what problem can I say that I solved in that position? Okay, I think this question goes to Isabel. And then second question is said, how many number of words are required for these essays? And then the third one is, must I have admission letter before applying for the scholarship? I think this question is for you, Isabel. Don't know. These are three questions. Said number one, can I use, if I'm a course rep, assuming I'm a course rep, can I use my position as a course rep to say that, to talk about my leadership skills? And then what can I say that I solved, as a course rep? And then how many words I say? Okay, so your question, please.
Okay, well, of course, you can use your position as the course rep. And about what you did, I would not know because it's your experience. However, I went to school and I had a course rep, and I knew he had to organize class activities. He had to be sure that lecturers were attending lectures and on time. He had to collate what's it called, assignments. He was like a middleman between lecturers and students. So he understands, he takes our problems, takes it to the lecturers, and then we find a common sort of ground. So these are like the generic things that course reps do. It is now left for you to show how you feel like that was instrumental to your department's progress or your class set progress, particularly. You get, so during my time when we had like 15 first class graduates. And if I was the course rep, I would highlight that in my essay and show how somehow, some way, it's about how you tell the story. So how if
Yeah.
I was not up and doing about lecturers attending classes, then these people would not have gotten the knowledge that helped them graduate with
Okay.
amazing
Yeah.
results.
It's a very nice.
You get
You can just use them and shine.
exactly. They're not going to read your essay. So that's it. And then about the word count, it's 500 words, minimum of 100. If it is less than 100 words, the online application system automatically detects it as a no application and it cancels it out. So minimum of 100, maximum of 500 words. The good thing is, as you write, there's the word count there. So once it gets past 500, it's already showing minus, and you know that's you're going off the word limit. What was the third question? Okay,
The
so
third
about
question is, must
university
I have an
admission.
admission letter?
No, you don't have to. I like to share this experience. I got Chevening Scholarship without admission. I mean, I had gotten the scholarship, but I had not gotten admission. An
Wow,
unconditional offer. Yes, that happened because that period
that's a
was
very risky
dry.
thing. Oh.
Very risky. It wasn't my fault. I applied to the universities in time, but because of this strike, I couldn't get my degree certificate. And the institutions I applied to, all of them requested for degree certificate to give me an unconditional offer. So I
Wow.
just went ahead
Uncle.
to, yeah, I just
Hi.
went ahead to apply for Chevening. I got the scholarship, but there was no admission. I don't know how God did it, but eventually I got my degree
Thank God
certificate.
Nigeria don't happen to you.
It happened to
As
me.
if it had happened, if Nigeria had happened to you.
I 7
Someone
days to the deadline. That was when I got the unconditional offer of admission. So yes, you can apply for the scholarship without your admission. Of course, the thing is the scholarship would even end before most university applications will open. The scholarship ends in November, and most university applications open in February the next year. So there's no way you'd have even gotten admission when you're applying to Chevening. So yes, you can. I hope that answers
so
your question.
I think so. Second question is, I think, is for Emma. It says, how can I know that a university is R1, R2, or R3? Do they write it on their website? If yes, where on the site can can I see it? I think I can. Yes, it's asking about R1, R2, R3. So
Yeah, so
okay, sorry, there are two questions. The first is, why writing to a professor, should I request a Zoom meeting with him? Okay, there are two questions for you, Emma.
Okay, so I'll start with the last one. If you are writing to if you're writing to a professor, can you hear me?
Yeah. Of course, I can hear you from here.
Okay. So if you're writing to a professor, you shouldn't request for a Zoom meeting, but you should do it in such a way that they will say, okay, I'm available at this time, and can we meet so time? So you don't say, I'm sending you a link to Zoom or something. No, you have to, kind of like coin the statement in such a way that they will actually want to talk to you. So this is the technique I use, and all the schools I apply, all the professors they had Zoom meeting with me. So maybe I will kind of like find some of I'll look at my email, look for the code emails I wrote to professors, and I can share with us. So the first question was like about R1, R2, R2, R3 universities. Sometimes some schools say University of Social Place an R1 university. Like sometimes they don't say. Sometimes you can go to Google. You can definitely all this thing you can search it in Google. You can say list R1 universities for me. They'll bring it out. You understand? So, but what you know R1 universities that it is well research intense. You understand? They are well research intense, and most of the funding they are well funded. So that's how you know R1 universities. You can actually Google them and you see a lot of list of university with R1, R2, R3 universities.
Okay, so another question. Ozema, do you have anything to add there? Okay.
So we are good. It's good.
Okay, so another question is, he said, I think this one will also go. He said, can my HOD, my retired HOD, write a recommendation for me? Is that acceptable? No, no question.
Is it for me?
It's for everybody. Anybody can ask. Can my
Yeah,
retired HOD
your HOD and HOD
retired?
does not retire. HOD, the office of HOD is not even a position. That's why you always see acting there. Your HOD,
Retired, not incumbent HOD.
okay. I understand what you mean by retired is like a former HOD. Is he a
Yes.
retired professor or
Yes,
emeritus or
that's the thing. Is has the person retired from service entirely? Maybe he's now a retired professor, or he has left the position. I don't know who asked the question. Can you, so I will know the best way to give you answer on that. Otherwise, you can give him a generic answer. I do okay. Just give him a generic answer on the two. Maybe if it's
Yeah, he's still the retired professor.
retired
yeah,
professor? Okay,
that's what I
so
wanted to know from Joyce.
sure, a retired professor can write recommendation letter for you. In fact, is I think yeah, because and since they are professor, they will recommended highly because they have not finished act and their service, and and they yeah, definitely they can write recommendation for you. But what our advice is for them to write recommendation for you since they are retired. Make sure that you state on what capacity they know you. Take for example, they taught you a course or they act as your advisor, and for that age range that they know you, what are the interactions you have with them and all that. And most of the times, most schools will say, oh, since they are professors, if you're applying to some schools, they'll kind of like, oh, they'll be looking like, what kind of did you do any research with them or something like that? Because that's what they are looking for. Or did you, like in my own, the professor that wrote my stuff, he's retired also. He's retired now. So when I write my recommendation letter, like when he wrote my recommendation letter, he said like, which I actually did. So I helped him kind of like check undergraduate projects. I checked errors, I checked for citation and all this, and so it's part of experience. Yeah, and it goes a long way. It helps. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I will add there is that if your professor, if he's a retired professor, he's a retired HOD or whatever, I think you should kind of, like what we said before, send him some of your CV, your updated CV. Why you should do that is because yes, he taught you in your undergrad. He taught you in your undergrad, and he must have supervised you during your research. But after between the time of your research, just like what Isabel was saying, when you want to cite example of leadership position you've held, it should be something that is most current, not something you did like 5 years ago. So my input there is you should send him your most recent CV or your most recent things you're doing so that he can speak both on your how he taught you, how wonderful you were in classroom, and what you are currently doing, because it will make him to send an updated CV, I mean, an updated information about you to the admission or scholarship body. So you don't wanna depend on the previous things when you have currently doing so many things new a lot of things. Like for instance, now if I'm requesting for recommendation now for anybody from any of my professors, they cannot submit those things they submitted like 2 years ago that I got this admission. They can't submit. I will have to tell because there have been something that I've been doing from that time till now. Like this Edu Afrique wasn't there before now, but it is there now. So it's something that I want to update them on. Like some other things, some other scholarship that I have won recently, I have to, inform them about it so that they can include it. So these are the things. So if there's nothing wrong with your professor or retired HOD or retired professor writing it for you because he taught you, so he knows about you and he is very well grounded. But then it is now left for you to update him or her on your recent work or recent publications you've made. He can also add them. I have another question. I think that one goes to Isabel. Say, please, I have a question, Scholar Isabel. It is?
Sorry, before you move to the next question about recommendation, please also remind them that these recommendations must come with yahoo@gmail.com. Okay, so that they don't go and look for people that don't have official email addresses, because the USC, I believe they want people that are in the professional body or something. Like it must be either at moiu.edu or at
very important.
generic emails like that.
Yeah,
thank you.
very important. If you're if your lecturer is talking from University of Lagos, let him use his Unilag email address too, so it makes it more authentic. All right, so okay, so he said, please, I have a question, Scholar Isabel. It is okay. Okay, it's like, is it okay to use, I think that's what she's trying to say. She said, is it okay to use leadership experience in your church to draft your leadership essay? Or is it better to use leadership experience related to your profession? Example, you are a president of organization in your church and have contributed greatly to the growth of the organization, and that organization has really contributed and still contributing to the society. So, Isabel, I think the question is, if like say you be president of a religion of Mary,
Beyond, yeah.
or Massava, if you're Catholic, so can you use
Well,
it?
okay, fine. I think I answered that on the chat already. Thing is, it doesn't matter what experience you're using. I think even on their website somewhere, one of the tips is it can be a religious experience, it can be whatever. What Chevening is looking for is what impact have you made by being a member of that community? That's the bottom line. Okay, so if you feel like being a leader of that position in church has helped you do very amazing. You already pointed out that you facilitated growth in that community by being a leader and a member. Then by all means, highlight it. That's it. Just it's in how you tell the story. It's not just about saying. So I read an essay somewhere, and someone highlighted a religious experience, how they were able to do fundraising and all that. I felt like that was strong, but she didn't make it compelling. So you can really show how maybe how the organization was before you came and what it is now. I remember I did that too in my time. Showed the before and the after and how you were the driving force for what that organization is now. So yes, you can.
Okay, so another question says here, okay, it says, I have always wanted to understand, must the recommendation come from a lecturer? Let's say an applicant performed community service so well. Isn't it possible for a ward counselor or community school principal to write it? Will it be honored? Ozioma, you have something to say about this? For me, I'm thinking, uh, okay, you want to speak?
No. But you muted everybody, like you muted yourself too.
Is that so?
Yeah.
When did I do that? Ah,
That was just recent. That was just not too long ago.
okay. So yeah, so the person is, I think the question is a very, I think we have addressed it somehow. It's, like most times when a university is asking for a reference, they always specify, most of them will specify it's
Academic
two
reference.
two two recommendations from your professors and one from either your organization or any other place. So I think most of these people, they specify where they want the thing to come from. Now, why they do that is because they want to get different views of you, what people are saying, what people in academics are saying, and what people in the field are saying about you. And then they will now use it they will juxtapose and compare and contrast. So I think in such, you need to ask them specifically, is it an academic reference? Because we have academic reference and professional reference. So if it is academic reference, it is advisable that your academic advisor or your HOD or your lecturer, whoever that has taught you in the past, should write it for you. However, if it is professional, this thing, it's required that you use either your boss in the office or anybody, like you said, counselor, what counselor. If you're doing some community development services, probably maybe you are self-employed, so you don't have a boss, but you're doing some community development services. You can ask your boss to write a recommendation for you. Recently, someone, like for instance, even this our platform that we are doing now, and like Edu Africa, I saw some people are volunteering in Edu Africa, like this Toby guy that always does something. So if he needs something about voluntary services or community development service, Edu Africa can provide him a recommendation letter about what he's doing, and we can now testify that he is doing this because we are seeing what he's doing. So it's all about what the organization is requesting and what they stand for. So just try to get that clearly before you move on with your, don't just go to anybody to submit your recommendation for you. So yes, that's true. Okay, I wrote in my CV. Okay, I think we've exhausted the questions here. Okay. Can I start applying for PhD even while studying for a master's degree? Yes, of course. I think it's a direct question and it's a direct answer. even with your BSc, you can get direct PhD. So, like I'm talking of most of the universities in the US. Most of the universities in the US, you don't even need masters for you to get admitted. So, however, if you're studying your masters and you want to apply for PhD, so what you do is you apply with your BSc and the current transcript, because when you are doing your masters, maybe you have finished first semester or first year of, so wherever you have stopped on your masters, because your trans is especially if you're in the foreign country like we are in the US, our transcripts, my transcript now, it won't take me 5 minutes. I'll get my transcript. What I just need to do is just log into my student email. Log into my student account, go to the transcript session, uh, place a request for it. Within a couple of minutes or hours, I have gotten it in my email. So, but it may not be like that in our place, because I know how difficult it is in Nigeria and African countries to get your transcript. So you can just get the current transcript that you're using. At that point, if you're still on your master's, you mustn't go to the university to get, the academic records to get your transcript. You can possibly meet your course advisor, maybe, your exam officer in your department, and probably ask him. I know of a student who we've helped in the past. So we needed his current transcript. So he has to go to his exam officer. He doesn't need to go to school to start applying, paying all those things. No, no, no. You just need to go to your exam officer, tell him that you're applying for something, you need your transcript. So your exam officer can actually get a transcript is your result. It's just your result. So you can get it and forward it to you or to the organization or whatever. So you can. But if you wish not to, you can possibly use your BSc. If you have a strong ground, you use your BSc and apply that. But it is good to use your master's. It is going to support your application. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we've possibly exhausted almost every questions here. So the last segment of what we want to do, which will also generate other questions, is the visa interview aspect. Is Trust still on call? Trust, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. So put on your video. Ozioma, you have his transcript. So sorry, his I-20. So fire him questions. Let him go and get his visa and join us.
Oh, Mr. Trust, are you ready? Joseph Trust. Let me see yourself now. Let me see your face.
I think it's on now, right? Is it on?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see. I can see you now. Yeah, I can see you now.
Okay.
So you wanna come into the US? You look like that will be coming in very shortly.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's use our normal language. Good morning. Are you ready for the interview now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So good morning. Pass me your documents.
Here they are. Good morning, sir.
Okay. I see you're going to Ball State University.
Yes, I'm going to Boston State University, and I chose Boston State University because of their technological advancement, including information management. This will be my focus. And then why I chose Master of the Architecture at Boston State University because of their deficits
I don't
of
know educational background.
experts in building
I
information.
don't know educational background. Can you run me through educational background?
Okay, I have a bachelor's degree in architecture. I studied at Modubadma University of Technology, Yola, and I obtained this degree with a 4.0 CGPA.
When did you finish your education?
I finished it at 2021.
Okay. So what have you been doing since then?
Okay, I'm working with Shell Homes Limited. This is one of the biggest real estate companies in Abuja, Nigeria. And then I work as an architect and a subcontractor where I work and I design and execute multi-million naira contracts with them. And I make an annual salary of 4.7 million naira. Aside from that, I have my personal business, which is a merchandise and a warehouse that I supply and sell different kind of building materials from cement, rods, and roofing sheets
Okay.
to
I
other.
see that you have some sort of funding here. How did you go about that?
Yes, I was able to submit a meticulously curated portfolio where this design was considered as one of the best amongst those who submitted as well. And then I have a very good research background where I published up to 3 different journals with reputable publishers. And then this rated me higher as a graduate research assistant.
Okay, so but I see you have some deficit. So how do you tend to cover this deficit?
I intend to cover this deficit from my personal savings, from the money I make from my merchandise of supply, for which I've had over the last 4 years. I've been able to save up to 20 million naira aside from the money I make annually from the work I do with MShell Homes, which is one of the biggest real estate companies in Abuja, and then from the contracts I also execute as well.
Okay, so why out of all universities, why Ball State University?
I chose Ball State University because they have a focus on sustainability. Ball State University has just recently won the 2023 Solar Decathlon, where students designed the alley house. And this house was very affordable, energy efficient, and eco-friendly. I would like to focus on that as well, aside from building information management. And then AI in architecture has also been included in the modules of Master in Architecture in Ball State University. And this is the future of architecture, where it's going to highly improve our design.
Hello, are you off?
I think his network, maybe his network has thrown him away.
Okay, you need to be back because me and him get quarrel and I will get fight. We'll go soon start. You don't like
Joseph,
it.
are you there? Yeah, I have a lot of well, it's good you finish him up. I was making some notes when he was speaking anyway. Joseph, are you there? I think
He left.
his network,
Maybe he will join back.
yeah, his network has taken him off. And all right. Okay,
Sorry.
he's back. Are you back?
So, yes, I'm back. Sorry, it's my network.
Okay.
All
So
right.
have you traveled to the US before?
Yes, I've been to India for a vacation, 2020.
Okay. Do you have any relative in the US?
No, I don't have.
I can't see you. Please, can you unmute yourself? Can you unmute your video?
Okay,
My video
his
is
video
here.
yeah, his video is, it was there before, but I can see his video here, but
That's because you are talking. If he's talking now, his video will appear.
Yes, the video
Uh-huh.
is here.
Okay. So sorry, I'm denying you this visa. Everything doesn't look good. I won't be approving. So I'm not denying that they will deny you there tomorrow whenever you're going. Okay. So, but that's just for me to point out one or two things to you. First, let me start from your funding part. You told me you finished in 2021, right?
Sorry, I didn't
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you said
can.
you finished school in 2021, Abby.
Yes,
Okay. And then you went for NYSC 2021 and 2022, right? Can you hear me, Joseph?
I think he's battling with his network.
Joseph, can you hear
Joseph.
me?
yes, yes, I can hear you. Network is
Okay, I
bad.
think you finished school you finished school in 2021, and let's say finishing school and then going for NYSC 2022, Abby.
Yes,
And then we just said this is just 2023. And then
yes,
you are making annual income of 4.7 million as a Nigerian graduate,
yes,
and you are funding yourself with 20,000 USD. That's like how much
yes.
in Naira?
That's about 80 million naira.
About 80 million Naira. My bros, it's not realistic now. Even if you have personal business, yeah,
Yeah.
these viewers, they've lived in Nigeria. They've lived here, and they know how things go here. And this can cost you this fund you already got here, because coming to light today that you're making 4 point. Let's say you are making 10 million naira. It would have been more reasonable. You're making 10 million naira a year. Okay, they're not making 4.7, and then within space of 2022 and 2023, you've saved 18 million naira. How did you do the magic? That's the point. That's what made me to say I'm not approving your visa in the first place, because it's not realistic. You have funding, cool, and all you just need is I think it's even 15 USD. Is what you need to get off with your funding matter. So putting this 20 here, putting that excess doesn't make any mean. You just find a way of bringing 15 USD account statement for them. That will still lessen the burden of you trying to lie to make up the funds and all of that. So let me leave that place and go back to your interview proper. Then when I asked you are going to boss university, you just said yes, I'm going to boss, and I chose this school. I didn't ask why you chose the school. When you're going to somewhere, you're going there, yes. Okay, I'm going there to be where I'll be doing my master's, okay, in this course, and I'll be focusing on. You make sure you're focusing on, at least you chill. Let the person give you the next question, because you might start answering and then put yourself in trouble. So, because you were almost, you said you were speaking too much. I was not cut you short, and I asked you, what do you do presently? So now, and when I asked you, when I asked you your educational background, you just told me you finished in 2021, and then you didn't tell me the year. I was not asked you the year. And then, please, since you finished, then you can tell me, okay, after then I proceeded to where I was. You can even start this you're working from your NYSC. So that this can be a way of you getting to reduce the burden of the lie you lied about the money aspects. So you can make it clear that when you were doing your NYSC, you were employed, okay, with this organization, and then you were making some amount of money yearly. And if I ask you now, okay, sorry, what was your monthly income? What's your monthly income? Joseph, are you there?
I think his network, he's still battling with his network.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I said, what's your monthly income?
Available. Can you hear me?
What's your monthly? 350,000.
Yes.
350 times 12 is how much?
The calculation
It's
4.350 times by we. If I
it's more than 4.7 million.
It's about 4 yeah.
It's about what?
4.2 million.
His monthly income should be 391,000.
So, but you told me you make an annual income from this company of 4.7 million. And you see, so this is, I know that when you mentioned this, I would have asked you, okay, how much do you make monthly? And I know when you just said, I know you were bluffing up, and bros, it won't save you. It won't lead you to anywhere. So please find a way of bringing it putting it well. Now you said you published about 3 papers. Can these papers be started online?
Yes.
And so this you should sell this one well. Sell it well. When I asked you, okay, how did you get about the funding? You just say, okay, I submitted a very competitive application comprising of my motivational letter and links to my published articles. Like, not just the way you mentioned the publication, it was just so casual. Man, that should be your target point. That shows that, okay, you're coming to the US to study, not just to come in there to live as an immigrant or something. So, as in, shoot that point of your publication very well, and don't say that is why you were the best. You were too. Don't say that is why you were the best or something. So you're not the best. So you were chosen among others. So you can say, okay, that's maybe you were selected among the people that got the funding or something. So I think I will just I will lay rest here so that people can make one things about your interview. So, but please, the funding part, that was what I just said that I'm not going to approve, so that you know that I spotted you, like I got you right-handed, understand? So work on that. Thank you. Stanley, can
Yeah, really. Honestly speaking, why we hold these interviews is to actually spot out where we feel you can have issue. And like I always tell people, where you have issues, where they are most interested in is your funding, your home ties. If you're able to not, as in to get these 2 places, well in
He's
your
not even here yet. He left.
Oh, his network, I don't know. The person we're advising has run away.
But you can say for other people's sake.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that they if you're able to connect these two things and make them visible, not make them realistic, then I think you are good to go to an extent. There are some other things I could have just wanted. I don't know specifically, but I'm just saying things now generally, since the guy is not here. Drawing inference from his interview, you are back, trust.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry.
So, okay, so what I was trying to say is this. If you're able to cover up your home ties and your funding, your chances of getting your visa is like 95%. The other 5% is just other things. So what I'm saying is this. I don't want to go into, I don't want to go deeply into, okay, Uzoma has actually talked on that area of you talking, say a lot of things at the same time. It's, I jotted down some things when you were doing that, and it's not a good thing. When you say a lot of things at the same time, you may end up putting yourself on the leg. So when they ask you a question, answer exactly the question they ask you. Don't go and generally, I feel that most of the answers you gave were based on probably some of these things people fly around as a transcript online and all that. Please, don't depend on that thing if you're going for your interview. Most times, when people depend on those things, they get there and they mess themselves up. People go to cram people's uh, uh, transcripts. You're going for your interview. You have your own specific. Everyone, each person that is going for visa interview has his own specific issues. Your problem is your problem. Your issue is your issue. You cannot take somebody's issue to be your issue. So please, avoid having all of these transcripts, cramming all of these transcripts. Go with your story. It's your story. Tell your story. Personalize it. Be specific. So on a specific level, because what I said now is on a general level. On a specific level, I think you need to work seriously on this income thing. There are discrepancies, and once these people sense some kind of discrepancy, there is nothing you can say there that will make them to change their mind. And a lot of people that, the visa refusal is of different categories. There are cases that they can refuse you and you go the second time, you get it immediately. And then there are some cases that even if you go 10 times, they will deny you 10 times. And one of the cases where people are denied, even if they come back next year, they will be denied again 10 times, is when you present a fake document. A fake document can make them to blacklist you. There is a difference between refusal and blacklisting you. So no matter what you do, even when you go to other embassies, because these people, they have a central system. So that's why I always advise people, be careful of what you do, the kind of what you present as your financial, because they know all these things. Like for instance, someone coming out to say he's working in so place and he's earning 2.5 million every month. Nah, n'ebe obodo ọkwa Nigeria nke a ya, answer Igbo, let me speak our language. You know the same Nigeria? 5 million. I have seen someone who said that. I was telling you, more now. You get something where you go on do, you go do, you better make you do and make it make sense, you know. So some of these things, when you do it, it falls back on you, and it's not a good thing. So you need to arrange all of these things very well. And I think from our interview now, you would need a special attention. I think I will give you a little bit special attention within the week. When is your interview?
It's on Thursday.
Oh, this Thursday. More. You are very
Boss.
close. You are very close. Okay, let's see.
Sorry, I even forgot to ask him something. Have you been denied before?
No.
No.
And please don't never get that experience. Like work on everything to make you not to get that experience.
Yes, it's not a good thing. Number one is, let me tell you the disadvantages of being denied. Number one is that you can never get dates easily, because they would want to attend to those who have not been denied at all before they will start thinking of you again. That is one. And I heard now things are very expensive now. Things are very high. I think they have increased MRV to about 100 and something thousand, about 150 something thousand. That's what people are paying now in our naira. I'm talking of naira, 150 something thousand naira. That's, someone told me yesterday, that's what they are currently paying based on the current dollar rates to naira. This is something that I paid. I think I paid 69,000 there about, or 68,000 that I paid when I did that thing. So you wouldn't want to be in that situation. That is one. Then secondly, once you are denied, your record is there. So anytime that's why if you look at anybody that is denied, anytime he goes for the second time, the first person I always ask him, what has changed? What
That's a
has
good
changed?
question.
Why should I now revert the decision of the previous VO? That is the thing. So that's why I always like to, by God's grace, throughout this year, by God's grace, out of over 20 to 30 persons, let's say out of 20 persons or thereabout, I can't get the exact figure, but I know that we've interviewed more than 20 something persons this year. It's only 2 persons that were denied out of about 20 something persons we have interviewed only this year. The rest got their visas, and by God's grace, I thank God they are all coming to US. So, and why we do that is that we really take time to criticize you. If you don't get, you see, we don't do it in such a way that we paint words for you. Everything looks good. You have been approved. It's a lie. We don't do that here. We cannot deceive you. We will tell you the actual thing, what is realistic. Just like a man did, immediately he finished, he said, I will not be giving you this visa. Yeah. It's not that it's not that we are wishing you that you know, but we are trying to be realistic here, because this is something that we have experience in. So I can tell you that this is where you are having issue. This is where your interview have an issue, and this is what you should do so that you make the best out of it. So we want to count you in the number of people that we've helped this year to get visas. And that is why we are doing this. So we want you to get this visa. And the only way you can get this visa now is probably, I think maybe after this call, get to me privately. Let's talk, let's look at your DS-160, because you really need to have you submitted your DS-160?
Yeah, but I've retrieved it.
Or you can retrieve it. Yes, we can retrieve it. So you really need to, if these things you say there are what you said there or what you submitted there, I think it doesn't augur well for you to put some of these figures that are unrealistic in the situation of Nigeria. These guys are in Nigeria. They are foreigners, but they are in Nigeria. So they know what's happening in Nigeria. They know how bad things are in Nigeria. So I will advise, we will talk more on that. So after this program, just connect with, maybe I and Dozioma will have some kind of further discussion about you and see how we can help you navigate this. Thursday is here. So, and we really want you to get this visa.
So just
Yeah.
a
So
general let me just give a general note for people going for visa interview and all of that. So about the DS-160, please, that's your winning tool. Like your DS-160,
it's your
like
winning
if
tool,
you
I'm
if you
telling you.
watch well when you're going for interview, they'll be looking at you, they'll be looking at the system. That system is your DS-160, they're looking at, they're
Yeah.
following keenly to see if you're going well in line with what you're just mentioning there and what you just said there. So please work on it well. And then please, this issue of unrealistic figures, please. Because these guys, they live in Nigeria. You know that they are the ones anchoring this education US and all of that. So they interact with students from education USA. And these are students that don't even have funds to sponsor themselves, and then they are bright students. And then you coming in to tell them you are making these millions and all of that. They know how Nigeria is out there. Like they are feeling the economy, even though they are being paid in dollars or something. But they are still feeling the impact of Nigerians, like how they are crying about every day about it. And then you're coming with these kind of figures. Please, let's work on ourselves. Like, even though you can come with this figure, fine, but find a way of strategizing it to make it look very realistic. Like, I wish you have a registered business. It would have been fine. Like, just okay, this big money came from your registered
Yeah,
business.
that was even what I pointed out.
So
I'm assuming some of these things are verifiable online. You know, someone can just say, I work in so place and I earn this. Just like that's why this Edu Africa we are doing, we decided to push it online so that if someone says he is doing this for Edu Africa, or if I'm using Edu Africa as one of my community development services, I can just put up the link there. You go online, you see what we are doing there. All of these things we are doing, they are all there online, they are all verifiable. So that was why I asked you this question earlier. Can someone just type ABC company that you said you're working at and see it online? So, because that will help them to actually know, to actually make, because they make what we call background verification, background checks. That's why you are to provide even your social media handles. They check all of these things, connect it to what you say you're doing, and actually know if you are telling the truth or you're not actually telling. They know. This another thing is that most of them may actually even know that some of the things we are doing are not realistic or they're not real. But how are you able to do it to look good? Yeah. So please, we will talk after now and we will discuss more and see how we can. I don't know if Ima, I don't know if you have any other anything you observed when he was.
maybe other viewers can talk. For me, I'm
Yeah,
cool.
that's why I said Ima, if Ima has or if Isabel has anything they have
No,
observed,
because
they can.
what you guys told him is the reality. Like, I was observing what he was saying, but it's not actually correlating. Like, you understand? For me, I will kind of say, if your company, your company know that you are going to US.
As if he's working with a company.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
Joseph.
Yes, boss.
Okay, so there's something Ima asked. Is a company aware or something? Okay, is your company aware that you're going to US?
Yeah, what I actually do, it's not related to architecture. Now, this company is a French company. I just told you that I'll just need to use. And it is because it's online, so that it's easy to verify.
Okay.
Yes.
I would have said if your company, if actually are working and your company knows that you are going to US, it's a very good way. It's simple. Even if you have the money, you can say they are sponsoring you. All the embassy need is the sponsorship letter to confirm actually that this money is coming from their company. That's number one. Number two is family tie, because I've never seen anyone, I don't know, but for me, I've never seen anyone that said, yes, I'm going to offset my bill. I've never seen anyone. If, for example, you say, yes, my father is a businessman, he deals with cement. He sells cement and building material. You now see the dad. You are going for architecture. Your dad is selling cement and building material. So your dad will be sponsoring you. Your family will be sponsoring you. And all they also need is to see the statement of account to see that the money is there and everything is there. I think with that, it's more sensible than saying that you are spending so, you are putting yourself in more this thing. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I think what Ima pointed out now, he already have his I-20, and his I-20 states that the personal funds will be
He
used to cover his little deficit.
he
So
can Stanley. He can send the ISSS. He can send them and say that,
this
oh,
guy has interview on Thursday.
his interview is on Thursday. All right.
On
Why?
Thursday.
But that's why you need to kind of like, before you do all this thing, you need to, everybody know the situation. If it is something like in UK that you do this thing now, yes, definitely they know the situation of UK that you can work and make such amount of money. This time, so that's why you need to ask, because I think you ask, you say, except maybe you say, yes, I'm managing. You can tell them, I'm managing my dad's company. I'm the manager. Yes, and I have shares. You say, I am a co-owner. I'm in partnership with my dad. Yes, so that's another way. It's a brilliant way you can say it. And so you say it's a partnership thing, that the reason why you're going is because your dad wants you to get more knowledge so that you come back and handle the business like in such a big way or something like that. So you have to think something so that it can correlate with what is in your I-20. So that's what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying.
think and that point you say consultancy service, like if he's doing consultancy service to big firms or something, because now that the company is already there and the dad is not the owner of the company, so he can be owning or maybe co-owning another person's company. So that's the issue.
Yeah,
Not because he said that this company has an online space that people can actually
presence.
verify. So it's gonna be hard for him to claim ownership of that company. But the only thing he can do now is if they're looking for a way of okay, doing providing a consultancy service to other places that paying him bigger funds or something, so he can go it up
Yeah.
and then make it up to what he
Okay.
said he said, and
Yeah.
then increase his payments maybe paying in this company that has online space. So.
Yeah, I
But
think I think I think I think that works. I think that is also an option for him, because I remember when I was going for my interview, I made mention of consulting services. Apart from my work as apart from my monthly salary as a lecturer, I am also consulting for some organizations. We organize trainings because I'm into HR. I mean, I'm a HR practitioner. So, and I studied something like that in my DS 160, I think so. I studied it in my DS 160. So, uh, in addition to what you're doing, you can say that there you can do it for like somewhere like me, and I'm in academics. I'm also doing consulting, so I can model all of them together. These are the things that are giving me funds. So, well, we will talk more on this and talk around it and see how we're going to come up with something that is okay.
Okay,
All
please
right.
can I contribute?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good evening all. Please,
Yeah. Go ahead.
from the interview, I just observed something from his facial reaction. You find out that it seems that he's reading a script. Like, can I say that he's not prepared? Based on his facial reaction, it's just like he crammed whatever he had been saying or
Exactly. That's what
telling
I
us,
said.
because it doesn't. Okay, sorry, I didn't know you have said it. And I think his due date. I don't know if he can get something like a CAC registration certificate to use it and back it up, that he use it to collect contracts. He works on contracts, and because of him presenting that registration certificate will actually give him an edge, because with that you can collect government projects or bigger projects. I mean,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can
I
source
think
for funds.
Yeah, I think you have a point there. This is even what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking around what we can use as something to substantiate. I think the TSA you just
Yeah.
mentioned now
So when when
is-
uh, pre- uh, when Ozoma,
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
when Ozoma, I mean, somebody said maybe he was working with consultants. You see, as a consultant, at least you need something to back it up. That okay, this is a registered certificate. But the problem we have now is that I think the certificate you presenting is not a certificate that bears someone's name. It should be a certificate that bears a company's name. Like it may be something engineering or not actually somebody's name. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Maybe
Yeah,
just a
I get your
business name,
point.
not actual someone's name. So if you can get such a certificate, it should be okay for him also to back it up that you use this certificate to collect contract, you work on contract. Because like you rightly said that these guys are in Nigeria and they know what is obtainable here. You don't just go and collect contract without nobody gives you contracts here now without providing such certificate. So I think he needs it, to back one of the two things that he's saying. So that's my little contribution. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, your point, your contribution makes sense. So anyway, like I said, trust, we will look at those things this evening. This evening. I just after this thing, maybe I can just give you some few minutes. Let's see how we're gonna bring all these things together and make it a little bit good, so that by
Okay.
Thursday we'll celebrate you.
Okay. Stan, I will send you a certificate. Maybe you look at it and see if you can
Okay,
actually use it.
just forward it to my WhatsApp. Forward it to my direct message.
Okay. All right.
You have my you are in are you in Edu Africa?
Yes, this is myself.
Okay. Oh, gwa ji nweze na-eme ihe ebe a. Aga m akụ gị ihe.
Sorry, sir.
All right, so uh let's see. Even CAC registration, just like currently Edu Africa, we are getting a CAC registration. So these are the things that authenticate whatever you are doing. So okay, it's well. You have a point there, and we have actually diagnosed all of these things. Our prayer is that it will work out. So at this juncture, I think we are coming to an end. I want to thank all the speakers so far. Isabel, you see, we've been here. You see the kind of sacrifice people are making to see that we build the society. Well, in as much as we are doing all these things, we are actually doing all these things to assist. Look at the time someone has spent. I think I've been here since 1 p.m. till now. This is almost 4 p.m. of our time here, and all of us are here doing all these things. Just the way we are trying to do. Emma has been here. Ozioma has been here. All of us, we are here. So I want to thank all of them for their time. In this country, they say time na money. Although most of us we don't work on Sundays and Saturdays, but then it doesn't mean that at least we are supposed to even use this, because tomorrow morning all of we move again until Friday. So but we are here trying to help. Look at where we are. So I thank them so much. I thank them so much. Each time we call on them, even some of them even volunteer, even without calling them to come and do it. They will say, I want to do this. For someone when I was in Nigeria searching for scholarships, I used to email or send messages to some of these guys who have gotten scholarships who are in different countries. And most times, before one person will reply me, it takes the person like 1 week or 2 weeks. But for somebody to that time, I used to say these people are doing guy from because you don't jabba now, you won't show me say you don't jabba, something like. I was having that kind of mentality. But then now that I'm here, I have seen I've seen why people don't reply because in this country, everyone is busy. Emma is here. Emma is in Michigan. I'm in Illinois. Most times we don't even talk for like 2-3 weeks. This is my guy that when we were in Nigeria, we see almost we talk every day. But we are here, we don't even talk to each other for like 2-3 weeks, even 1 month, just because of our busy schedule and everything. So thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you guys so much for everything you are doing for to help the humanity. Thank you guys. So thank you so much. Isabel, thank you so much. You have really done well, and I pray that God will reward you guys. We don't have money, silver or gold. We don't have. Even the people we are helping, they don't even have money well, they have, but they don't. We don't need to. We know how things are now in Nigeria. So and you know, some of the people that do these things, I know that most people that do this thing, this business of helping people, they use it as money-making venture. At least I can talk of one guy I emailed that time, one Mobolaji guy. I don't know if you guys have heard about him. One Mobolaji guy who is an SI scholar. I
Forget
emailed him.
Mobolaji. Forget
Yeah.
Mobolaji. Now my guy, we started the journey of Swedish institutes together. The guy just
Tell you, but Mobolaji, imagine, do you know that Mobolaji, I sent Mobolaji mail when I was in Nigeria, sent him mail to help me review my SOP and all that. He said I should pay him 150K Naira for him to review my SOP. Hey, Jesus. More than 1 month salary. I should give one person just to review. It's not that he's even going to give me the scholarship, just to review. Then there's some people, even like Brainbuster. I know about you, one Brainbuster guy in this US. If you want to pay your savings fee, I think you will have to pay, I think it's extra $10 or so thereabouts for him to pay your savings fee for you also. And all these guys, they are actually not, that is their business, what they are doing. They are making money from it, and people are giving them money. And well, if people decide to give money for you to help him, that is your business. But for me, for us in Edo Africa, we don't attach money to some of these things. We are giving it free. And that is why, well, one disadvantage of doing some of these things free is that some people may not take it serious. Some people may not take it serious because when you pay for something like that 6 weeks program we did, it was a very impactful program. So many people did not, so many people have been chatting me, but they have not been attending the program. I used to check sometimes the people that are there, even though I don't know the names of everyone there. Probably because they feel is something these guys are doing. I don't know that it's something that people pay a lot of money to gain, but we do it by giving it out. And I'm sure that many people that attended, at least over 40 to 50% persons may attend that program that time, and they benefited from it. Like I always say in Edo Africa, we are not an organization that is looking for crowd, to generate crowd and to carry crowd, and we say we jack of all trade and master of none. We just want to have few people we can mentor. At least so far, by God's grace, over 20 persons have gotten visas this year. It means that 20 generations have been helped. 20 generations are now going to be helped. I mean, from now, because when they come, they will be solving problems of both their family and society. And then while they are doing that, they are helping other people. So with that, in the next 10 to 15 years, we can be counting that Edo Africa has helped over 100 persons, which is 100 generations. So this is what we are looking at. We have a bigger picture, but we are not actually doing it how much are people give us? So I thank all the people that are volunteering to help. They are all there online. One of the reasons I always bring them here is for you guys to connect with them. They can, I believe, most of them will be willing to actually look at your SOP. Like for instance, this chevening that we are doing now, most of you that are connecting with Isabel, you can actually ask her, please, can you help me look at my SOP? She can do that for you. It's when you give your SOP to somebody who have won scholarship, the person will help you. the person will use his or her own experience to, structure your CV. I mean, your SOP the way it should be. So that's one of the reasons we actually scout for these guys. Very soon, I'm gonna bring in some guy, SI scholar. He is currently in Sweden. So because SI scholarship is gonna start very soon. So I'm making plans to bring him in. So not just for them to come and speak, but for you to connect with them. That is why we call our organization Education African Global Connect. You connect with people, so that you can get help. Because without connection, that networking, you cannot survive in this economy. So thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your contributions, and I pray that God will pay you guys back. And thank you guys for thanking us. In the absence of every other thing, we will keep talking on the group chat, on the WhatsApp group chat. Now, I want to talk about WhatsApp group chat. Please, a lot of people applied to join our WhatsApp group chat. Please, I'm sorry we did not take a lot of people now. We got too many applications, but they were all writing. I don't know what they are writing. And someone even went to write because because that place is compulsory. You cannot submit without writing something. Someone went and write NA. I not only did not answer, but I blacklisted that person's number. I blacklisted that. There's a way I did it. I blacklisted so that the person can't even submit again. We are taking it very serious. Like I said, we are not looking for crowd. We're looking for very few persons we can help. If we are looking for crowd, if assuming this our dating is for money making, we would have said we would have been looking for crowd. Like for instance, I know a WhatsApp group of this kind of thing that you cannot join until you pay $20. I know of that. People pay $20 before they join that WhatsApp group chat. So other people other put money and other monetary and other things for them to join their this thing. But the only thing we need from you is to write a letter of intent of 100 to 150 words. A lot of people are not taking it serious. And the way you're not taking it serious will not take you serious. This guy read it this week and I saw the people he recommended. They are all good. I accepted them and we added them. So we can't continue to like I was saying, like I said earlier, I think that there will be a time we will do a kind of overhauling our chat and check people who are not actually just there or around. We brought up a strategy of if you post anything about anything that looks scam, we will just remove you. But I think everybody has learned lesson now. Nobody is fighting again now. But I don't say it will come down. So we are looking for our strategies. We used to reduce people there. So if you're sending our link to anybody, tell the person to take the thing serious. If he writes rubbish and send to us, we will blacklist the person. We will blacklist the person so that the person cannot even submit again. So please, if you want to, we are in a serious business. We are not here to joke. We are not here to joke. So if you want to joke with us, then we will joke with you. So that's what I want to say about our WhatsApp group. If you want to join our WhatsApp group, go to our website, click on the join group. Join. I think let me type that WhatsApp that our website. So you go to our website and the eduafrischolars.com. So if you go to this website, you will see where to join. You click there, you join. You write your SOP. We look at it. If it is good, we accept it. If it does good, we reject it. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys. We're gonna call it a day here. We continue to speak even at the group chat and every other place. If we still have other programs to come up with, we will let you guys know. For now, there is no close program. I'm very sure we have prepared you guys. It is now left for you guys to do it, to now fight. We have done our part. Applications are starting. Chevening is starting in the next 3 to 4 days. They have started to be open for applications. one of the reasons you should apply for some of these things is for you to gain experience. I gained a lot of experience applying for Chevening Scholarship. And one of the reasons, one of the things that helped me to get the scholarship that I'm using currently now is because of my Chevening Scholarship Application experience that I had. So Chevening is starting. A lot of universities in the US, some of them are starting in this August, some of them are starting in September. A lot of universities in UK, other countries, shoot your shot. You have gained a whole lot of knowledge from us. Put them into practice. Always link up with some of us for your SOP to be reviewed. I'm not saying you should be sending SOP and well, connect with these guys. That's why I bring them here. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Ask them, beg them. They can bring out their time over the weekend and look at your SOP. And if you want to beg them, put them on time. Because it's not when you have to submit in the next 3 days. Come and tell him, please review my SOP for me. And then when the person didn't review, you say you did not review. Did you pay him? You didn't pay him in the first place. So please, if you have like application to make, submit your SOP on time so that the person will bring out his time. Yesterday, like I told you guys, I read over 8 SOPs. I replied all of them. These are the SOPs that was sent to me like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Some people sent 2, some people sent last week. And I replied them and sent back to them. So connect with these guys and it shall be well with all of us. Thank you guys and may God bless you for your participation. If you have any other further question, send your question to EduAfric WhatsApp group chat on what we have done today. May God bless you guys. Thank you.